The other kind of customization is functional customization, or changing the function of the website. And in this case, the question is, what do I mean by customized functionality? And by that, I mean changing layouts, creating custom templates, having custom headers that exist on different pages, having custom footers that can exist in different places, having a good handling of custom post types and custom taxonomies, and then having a wide variety of ways of handling images and displaying images on pages. That's the kind of thing I'm referring to when I speak of customizing the functionality. And just like the customizing the appearance, customizing the functionality, there is a WordPress way of doing that. And the WordPress way of doing that starts off with plugins. And there are a couple of examples of those plugins. One of them is display widgets. The display widgets plugin lets you determine which widget shows up on which pages. Now, you can use display widgets with any theme, and that actually goes a long way to significantly improving the customizability of any theme, really, because if you can change what widgets display where, you can have significantly different looking pages. Well, there's a Genesis plugin called Genesis Sidebars, which takes that a step further and allows you to create custom sidebars and substitute those sidebars or widget areas for default widget areas that Genesis has. And so, that does give you a choice of changing up like widgets in a footer or widgets in a header or widget areas in the sidebar. So there's a certain amount of that can be done because of that plugin. So you've got some kinds of changes that can be done that way. However, the typical way of doing it is just to create your own custom child theme. Now, if you're going to do it with a custom child theme, that does require an extensive amount of knowledge of HTML, PHP, CSS, and sometimes even JavaScript. If you're going to create your own child theme in order to customize the functionality of a site, you almost have to be, well, you'll have to be at least a budding WordPress programmer, but you almost have to be have to be able to create a theme from scratch before you can really effectively create a child theme. Now that's a bit of an exaggeration there. Thesis does bring an awful lot, Genesis brings an awful lot of baked in functionality to the table that you can rely on when you're creating a child theme for Genesis. However, it still does have an awful lot of very strong reliance on HTML and PHP and CSS. So in fact, I'm going to be advertising a seminar for next week on, as an introduction to creating a child theme for Genesis, because it is a useful tool in the hands of a web designer, especially. But that's the second way, is just essentially create your own child theme. The third way is to hack the child theme, and again, this is really the default way, right? Again, if you read tutorials or look on support forums and that kind of stuff, you'll often see advice about opening up those PHP files and adding code to them. And just like that's a problem when you do it with CSS, it's also a problem when you do it with PHP and HTML, in that when you upgrade, you lose those changes. You also have problems with, customization. I helped somebody recently try and figure out a problem on their site. They had a Genesis site that was not behaving correctly, and the reason was because they were using a child theme that somebody had customized. So it looked like it was, I think it was the agency child theme. It looked like it was the agency child theme, but in fact there was a bunch of custom code added to the agency files, and we didn't know that at first. So we're trying to solve problems, not realizing that the problem is being caused by poorly written custom code that exists on the site. So it's not just a problem when upgrading, it's also a problem with maintaining the site, not knowing whether or not there are customizations in the child theme that are potentially causing a problem. Now, again, just like with CSS, there are child theme extending plugins. That is the dynamic extender and my child theme customizer. Those both provide tools for you to add custom PHP to a child theme without hacking the actual child theme files. And so there are ways around that, but that's not the default, right? Oddly enough, the default answer is open up the child theme files, make changes to it, and then save them and hope all that stuff works out. But that's the WordPress way of customizing or changing the functionality of a website. Well, so let's see. The Thesis way of doing that is to use a skin editor. Now, the skin editor, and I'm not going to talk about this too much. You probably want to take a look at my videos on introducing Thesis, because they do a pretty good job of showing you the power of the skin editor. But the skin editor really does give you complete control over templates, layout of a page, what shows up on a page, what HTML elements show up on a page. You can change virtually anything in the skin editor. You can change functionality by changing skins. Most skins have different sets of their own functionality, just like the promo skin had that special box, the tabbed widget box, and the social trigger skin had the special feature box. Those are all things that can be, come built into skins with that added functionality. And then you can add standalone boxes that add additional functionality to it. None of that stuff requires code. Essentially the difference between the Thesis way and the WordPress way is that the Thesis way, you almost never need PHP. You almost never need to write PHP, no matter what it is you want to do. If you think you have to write PHP, that probably means you're doing it wrong. Now, there are a handful of limited exceptions, but they are very limited. 95% of the stuff anybody ever wants to do on a site can be accomplished without PHP because of the tools that Thesis provides. And again, you almost never need to write any HTML. Again, much of the HTML is baked into the skin editor, and all you really have to do is move stuff around, and the HTML follows it. Every once in a while, you may want to use it to write your own. Once in a while, you might write your own HTML, right? There are times in which when knowing HTML is going to be very useful, but you very, very, very seldom ever actually write any HTML. So, what can you do with Genesis without knowing HTML, PHP, or JavaScript? Well, you can set the default layout like we saw in those settings. You can change that layout on a page-by-page basis as well. And then you can use plugins for adding and subtracting widget areas or changing layouts of default WordPress templates and that kind of stuff. All right, you can make, really for many people, that's all the kinds of changes they ever need to make. And so that's not an insignificant amount of change that can be made using plugins that are readily available. But that's what you're going to use. You're going to use built-in options that are come with a skin, or plugins that add and subtract functionality from the skin. What can you do with Thesis without knowing any HTML, PHP, or JavaScript? Well, you can create a different template for anything. Literally anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You could, if you've got a category of posts that you want to show up differently than anything else, you can do it. If you want to use a special template for certain posts, you can do it. If you want a different template for every single page, you can do it. You can have different headers, different footers, different sidebars, different anything, anywhere, and never use any PHP, using no JavaScript, and a little bit of HTML knowledge is useful, but you're never going to be writing any HTML. This means you can entirely rearrange the default layout for any template, anywhere, anytime. And when you do that, you are never changing the underlying code base of the skin. So you never have to worry about updates and upgrades. Your changes will always persist in the face of updates and upgrades, because your changes are not changes to the underlying code base. And really, this whole question of customizability is really, I think, sort of the highlight of the differences between Thesis and Genesis.